Hello everybody. So far we had been looking at evaluation of teaching quality as a research proposal in a way which took into consideration which defined many new terminologies: high inference teaching behavior, low inference teaching behavior, student rating, student achievement, many other things. And we tried to find out what constitutes, what kind of teaching behavior contributes how much to teacher rating. For example, clarity, organization, inspiration, these are high influence teaching behaviors, and these influence teacher ratings significantly in one way or other. Now we are going to move on to a completely different way of evaluating a teacher. And it's a very interesting way of evaluating a teacher. And I hope somebody will take it up as a research item and begin that idea in India. This is what we have been looking at so far. Again, 424 teachers subjected themselves to analysis of high influence teaching behaviors to low influence teaching behaviors. Interest in this case is a teaching behavior. What kind of teaching behavior? High inference teaching behavior. Because interest, if you say increase interest, you don't really fully define the term. What does fully define the term interest? You can say we have found out that people who can generate high interest in the class, both according to student ratings as well as student achievement, they do these things. They describe relevant personal experience. They point out practical applications. They relate subject to student interest. This is what we have found out. So, we must first find out what high inference teaching behaviors are important for teacher rating to go up. That can be done in two ways. One, by asking students to fill up forms and taking statistical data and correlation. Two, by looking at multi-section class. Having done that, we find out what does each high inference teaching behaviors actually mean, and this is what we have found out. Then we practice that. These are two different ways. There is a third way, a dramatically different third way, and this is what we are going to look at. This is primarily due to Professor Wyman and his team, called Use of Teaching Practice Inventory, a new method for measuring teaching effectiveness. We are going to use some new terminologies and define some new ways of measuring teaching effectiveness. Remember, the purpose is very simple. Find out a single index for a teacher which defines her teaching effectiveness. If somebody has a high index, he or she is high on teaching effectiveness. Now, let us define some terminology. ETP, extent of use of teaching practices that result in greatly improved student learning. as clearly established by extensive research. We begin where we left off. Where did we leave off? We said we have to find out what are those characteristics which improve the teacher rating. So we list them. We have a long list of items which are. So the teaching practices are basically like best practices in an industry. If we say that these teaching practices or teaching behaviors, if you like, result in good learning, good teaching, then those are the teaching practices which we will put in an inventory. And TPI is inventory of tested teaching practices. So I found out 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or whatever number of teaching practices which are pulled from other places and said that we know for a fact, as a research has shown, that this teaching practice improves teaching. Under whatever condition it improves teaching. This one also improves teaching. This one also improves teaching. We pull them all together and we put that in a pool. We call that teaching practice inventory, inventory of teaching practices. So if we practice any of them, our teaching will improve. That's clear. How much? We are not defining right now, but they will improve because research has shown this to be so. So if we have teaching practice 10, 12, each of them we know improve teaching practice, each of them we know improves our teaching. Next issue is how much of each are we using? If we use 100% of all of those teaching practice inventory, then our teaching will go up fully. If we use only 50%, our teaching will go up by 50%. If we use only 20% of them, our teaching will improve by only 20%. So teaching practice inventory is one concept, and extent of use of teaching practice is the second concept. How much of those good teaching practices are we using? Notice one thing. In this case, when we say inventory of tested teaching practice, we are completely eliminating all factors beyond teacher control, because each of these have been found out separately by research that they improve teaching quality irrespective of the classroom size or whatever. Under whatever condition, they improve teaching quality. Assumptions, indirect method. Maximum achievement of student learning takes place when 100% of teaching practice inventory is used. Maximum ETP, highest teaching quality. It's obvious that you have collected in a box n number, let us say 15 number of teaching practices, all of which improve your teaching, which you know already from other sources. And then if you use all of them fully, then maximum achievement of student learning will take place when 100% of the teaching practice is used. Lower ETP, lower teaching quality. Quite obvious. All criteria fully met. Why? Because all factors beyond teacher's control are taken care of. It doesn't matter. Whatever is the number of students, it doesn't matter at all. Teaching practice inventory categories. STEM disciplines. STEM, as you are familiar with, is science, technology, engineering and management disciplines. Teaching practice inventory 1. There are 12 of them. 1. Information about the course, such as list of topics and organization learning objectives. We already know that if we provide learning objectives in the beginning, if we organize the course and we tell this is how the course will be organized, they improve teaching. So, course information provided is provided or not provided is teaching practice in inventory 1. Supporting material provided. Materials provided to support learning of course material such as notes, videos and targeted references or readings. If you provide that, then teaching will improve greatly. Supporting materials provided is teaching practice inventory 2. In-class features and activities. What is done in the classroom, including a range of different activities, kinds of activities that is instructor might do or have the students do. That is clarity, inspiration, interest creation, expressiveness, task orientation, interactions, flip teaching, etc., which we have already examined. That inspiration, interest creation, clarity, expressiveness, these improve teaching significantly. So, these are in-class activities, which is category number 3. Assignments, nature and frequency of the homework assignments in the course. This is teaching practice inventory 4. If you provide this good quality of assignments, then they will be improving your teaching quality significantly. Teaching practice inventory 5 is testing and grading in the course and feedback to the students from students, feedback to students and from students. Again, research has shown again and again that if you test and grade the students in the course and provide feedback to the students and take feedback from the students, this improves teaching, irrespective of the class size, irrespective of the course, irrespective of the level of any other thing. These will improve teaching a great deal. Other assorted items covering diagnostics, assessment, new methods, student choices and reflections. This is teaching practice inventory 6. Collaboration or sharing in teaching, collaboration with other faculty, use of relevant educational research literature and use of educational material from other sources. This is collaboration sharing in teaching. Now, we have already discussed what is teaching practice, what does teaching practice inventory mean, and what are the categories of teaching practice inventory. There are 8 of them. I have left out one which is not totally applicable for India. That is why I am left out that one, and remaining ones I have discussed. We have already established that these teaching practice inventory improve teaching irrespective of the class size or anything else. And the more you use it, the better is the teaching. That leads to the concept of extent of use of teaching practice or ETP. How do I find out what is the ETP score? How much is the extent of use of teaching practice? How do I find out? Extent of use of proven teaching practice inventory, raw data, is converted into a score for each of the 8 categories and for the course as a whole. Let us look at scoring rubrics. Here is an example. It needs some concentration. We are looking at data, raw data. ETP score, distribution of extent of teaching practice course for 3 different departments of maths and sciences. Department 1, D1, Department 2, D2, Department 3, D3. This is actual raw data. N is the number of courses, EWA is the enrollment weighted average, depends on the number of students enrolled in a course and its ETV score. Last row shows the maximum possible scores. Look at it carefully. D1, Department D1, maybe a mathematics course department, has 28 courses they are offering. N is the 28 courses they are offering. The average ETP obtained by them is 33.4, or before that, let's say maximum possible score for category 1 is 6, category 2 is 7, category 3 is 15, category 4 is 6, category 5 is 13, category 10 is 6 is 10, and category 7 is 4. Category, that means if you use all the teaching practice inventories in each of the categories fully, I repeat, if you use all the teaching practice in the teaching practice inventories of the 6 teaching practice inventories fully, then you would have a total score of 67. First one will get 6, second one will get 7, third one will get 15, next one will get 6, next one will get 13, next one will get 10. Who scores them? Not the students, not other teachers. You yourself score them. You look at a table and say, this much use is full use, this much use is half use, this much use is quarter use, or this much use is 10% use. So there is a rubric given to you which says, if you use teaching practice inventory to this extent, give yourself so much marks. If you use teaching practice inventory number so to this extent, give yourself so much marks. So there is a table which is called I believe it's called scope. We'll have to check up that scope, and you give yourself marks accordingly. What has happened here? Department D1, 28 courses, 231 courses, Department 3 at 55 courses. Average TPE, ETP for Department 1 is 33.4. Maximum is 67. So they got 33.4. And standard deviation was 9.4. Average ETP for Department number 2 is 32.6, maximum is 67, and their standard deviation is 8.5. This is 24.1, standard deviation 6.5, maximum is 67. So the first look, which department has the highest ETP? It's very clear that Department 1 has the highest ETP of 33.4. EWA is 39.3 because it does some correction for the number of students in a department. If the number of students in a department is high and they are scoring reasonably high ETP, then that means maximum number of students also get advantage. So that is the EWA. The interesting part comes now. In category 1, Department 1 scored 3.9 out of 6. How do you score that? they looked at what is called COPAS, Common Observation Protocol for undergraduate STEM courses. They take about 15 minutes and about an hour and a half to train, and they use the COPAS form to score themselves. And they themselves have said in category 1, I have scored, the department has scored 3.9 out of 6, 3.7 out of 6, 2.7 out of 6. Department 2, 4.2, 4.5, 3.17. Now, if we look at it as a total, we find 33.4 is the highest. If we look at who has scored the highest in department in category number 2, we find department 2 has scored highest in category number 2. If we find who has scored highest in category number 5, we find department 3 has scored highest in category number 3. And these are the maximum scores. So what do we learn from this slide? We are looking at 3 departments of a university. We are not looking at teaching quality of an individual. We are looking at the teaching quality of a department. That's a very interesting concept. We are also looking at a chart which tells us which department is strong in which area and which department is weak in which area. We are also looking at how strong is the department and how weak is the department in a particular area. For example, we are finding that department D2, let us say, D2, its performance in ETP area 1, that means organization, clarity and similar kinds of things, is 3.7, whereas department number 3 is 2.7. They don't care. So they are very weak in that area. So what can they do? They can easily go and learn from department number D2, let's go 3.7, although 3.7 or 3.9 from department number 1. All this not particularly good, where 6 is the highest. So this presents a comparative chart of a departmental teaching quality, which has been averaged out from individual teaching quality. So if you have so many faculty in a department, faculty number 1 to 10 in a department, as we shall soon see, and each faculty's teaching quality is aggregated, summed together, you can easily find the departmental teaching quality. And if you have ETP scores of 3 maths and science departments, average ETP score for 3 departments, x-axis shows ETP scores and y-axis shows percentage of courses scoring a particular ETP scores variable. Now look at this. This is department D1. ETP scores of 25. This is about 17%. 17% of the courses have scored an ETP of 25. 30%, not 30%, this is 20, so 20, a little less than 20, is about 17% of the courses of department 1 has scored an ETP of 30. An ETP of 35 has been scored by about 17% of the courses. And ETP of 45 has been scored by 21% of the courses. So you can clearly see that how many percentage of the courses have scored what ETP in a particular department, and which need improvement, which do not need improvement. D5, Department 5, ETP of 25 has been scored by nearly about 30% of the courses has scored, a little more than 30% of the score has scored an ETP of 25. So, from data like this, you can see how much is the extent of use of TPI, that is inventory of good teaching practice, how much has been used by each department and where the improvement is required. Instructors scoring low ETP in any category can learn from peers scoring high on that category. Let's see an example. Here is an example. The example is, let's take any department. This department has 10 courses. Course number 1, instructor number 1 had scored a maximum of 28. Instructor number 2, instructor number 1 has scored an ETP of 28. Instructor number 2 has scored an ETP of 10. Instructor number 3 has scored an ETP of 25. And these are the list of the ETP of individual instructors. Instructor number 10 has scored an ETP of 46, which is the highest. Instructor number 2 has scored an ETP of 10, which is the lowest. And where has instructor number 2 gone low? Maximum low. Information provided 0. Example is, there are 10 courses with 10 instructors in this department. Each instructor's total ETP has been listed here. Example, instructor number 10 has scored an ETP of 46, instructor number 2 has scored an ETP of 10. She herself scored it, nobody else did. And how did she arrive at the result 10? By looking at individual category. In category 1, information provided, she knows that she did not provide any information. So she had scored 0. Supporting material, she knows she provided very little. Out of 6, she has scored herself 1. In-class activity, for example, clarity, expressiveness, and all the rest of it, she has provided very little. So she has scored 2. 2 on assignments, 2 on feedback, 1 on other, and collaboration 2, total 10. And this is available to all the members of the department. They themselves have scored it. So what can she do to improve? Because that was one of the most important things to do. That not only provide incentives, but to provide the feedback and encourage self-learning, very quick self-learning. How can she do that? Very simple. If she wants, she can go to faculty number 10, who scored 46, and she scored 12 on in-class activities, whereas faculty number 2 has scored 2 on in-class activities. So she can go and check with faculty number 10, what did he do or what did he not do to score 12, and she herself has scored 2 in that case. so they can learn from each other. It's very, very simple, if they want to. If they don't want to, they will continue to remain low, but here they will get concrete examples that I use in class activities, I use this, I use this, I use this, I have done this, I have done that, I don't do this. They can learn from each other. So that's very straightforward. And if they learn from each other, their scores go up every year, the departmental scores go up every year, and the institute scores go up every year, and they attract better students. Here is an example of the actual result of a department D3. Look at department D3, this is fractional score. That means the ETP actually scored divided by the maximum ETP possible. This is the result of 2006 to 7 study and 2012 to 13 study. 5 years after the program started, how the departmental score changed. And you find that the number of courses with percentage of courses which had ETP, fractional ETP, high fractional ETP, these are, as time goes by, this is 2012 and 13 data, as time goes by, the percentage of courses which had higher ETP is increasing. So it shows that if you follow the procedure, your extent of use of teaching practice, good teaching practice, if you follow that principle, your teaching will improve. Majority of responses are objective with check boxes or choices of numbers within a range that reflect quality and amount of use of particular category. Average compilation time is 10 minutes. In-class activities are difficult to report. Corpus classroom observation protocol is helpful for this purpose, which is available free of cost. Thank you.